Welcome back, friends. Having adequately familiarized ourselves with South Africa in the first part of this talk, we now come over to Nepal in South Asia. With just 147,181 square kilometers of land area, Nepal is a small country nestled in the slopes of the Himalayas and has in its territory 9 of the tallest mountain peaks of the world, of which the Everest, the tallest in the world, is one. On the north of the country is the Tibetan Autonomous Region, and on the south and the east is India. Starting from the lower Terai region on its border with India on the south and the east, Nepal's landscape includes upper Terai region going up to the Mahabharata mountain range, which is also known as the lower or lesser Himalayan range, the mid-mountain region between the Mahabharata range to the Himalayas proper, and the Great Himalayan range. Nepal is a poor country depending chiefly on agriculture, which gives the country 31.7% of its GDP, and tourism. For imports, even from China, it has to depend on sea routes that the country can only connect through India. Declared a federal democratic republic on 28th May 2008, Nepal is the newest full democracy in South Asia. Presumably, the monarchy in Nepal would have continued a little longer if the crown prince hadn't killed the king Birendra Bir Bikram Shah, the queen Aishwarya, other royals and himself in an unfortunate shooting spree. The Shah dynasty, of which King Gyanendra Shah, the brother of Birendra Shah, was the last king, had ruled Nepal since 1767. However, the kings of the dynasty remained more or less in the capacity of constitutional kings from 1856 to 1951. During this period, the executive and other powers were in the hands of the Ranas, the line of hereditary prime ministers. It was the national insurrection against the Ranas led by King Tribhuvan, the grandfather of Birendra Shah, that brought the power back to the dynasty of Shahs in 1951. However, the absolute power hasn't been an easy thing for the monarchs in Nepal since it came back to them. Much inspired by the democracy in the newly independent India and its splintered part Pakistan, the demand for the end of monarchy, or at least its confinement as constitutional, had been rising there. The pro-democracy movement gained a special momentum in 1990 in the form of a multi-party people's movement, bringing together the centrist Nepali Congress and the United Left Front and some other smaller parties. Of all of these, the Nepali Congress had been in existence since its foundation in 1947 and had continued to play a significant role in the demand for the abolition of monarchy and the institution of multi-party democracy. For a long time, from 1959, when it won the elections in a landslide victory to the rise of the left parties there, the Nepali Congress continued playing a significant role in resisting the monarchy within the system of His Majesty's government. As stated earlier, the end of monarchy in Nepal came on 28th May 2008 when the country was declared a federal republic and the royal palace was turned into a museum after the humiliating exit of the then King Gyanendra Shah. As of today, Nepal functions as a multi-party democracy within the framework of the Constitution of Nepal 2015, which replaced the interim constitution of 2007. The Federal Parliament of Nepal has two houses, the House of Representatives as the lower house and the National Assembly as the upper house. Broadly speaking, the culture of Nepal is majorly represented by the culture of Kathmandu Valley. To borrow the observation of Mary Slusser, it is only in the Kathmandu Valley that a continuum of cultural development can be traced through some 2 millennia into contemporary culture. Apart from being the cultural mainstay of the country, the culture of the valley is also the bearer of the history of Nepal. For example, to borrow Mary Slusser's observation again, the tangible ancestral monuments of the valley from the deep past and the names of the rulers of the dynasties that have been extinct for 1,000 years or more remain vividly alive in the legends and folklore of the region. The valley gives itself a mythical beginning, as celebrated in the popular legends that state that the region was a huge sea-like lake surrounded by hills in the times of distant past, and that Bodhisattva Manjushri cut the hills to drain the lake to give the people the fertile lands. The documented history of the valley, traditionally known as Nepal Mandala, begins with the first stone inscription of King Manadeva I of the Lichavi dynasty. The inscription is dated 464 CE and is at the Changu Narayan temple on a hill around 7 miles east of Kathmandu, following the fall of the Lichavi dynasty after a rule of around 630 years. From sometime about 250 CE came the Malla dynasty that ruled the valley regions till their overthrow by Prithvi Narayan, inaugurating the Shah dynasty at Kathmandu in 1768-69. The Shah dynasty continued to rule Nepal to the end of monarchy there in 2008. The demography of this ancient mandala, the regions of Nepal, underwent a change after the rich northern parts of India came under repeated attacks by the conquerors descending from the northwest, sending refugees into Nepali territories. To quote Mary Slusser once again, these refugees, who were Orthodox Brahmins from Mithila and Buddhists from the devastated monasteries of Bihar, settled in the hill regions of western Nepal. Though one should always bear in mind that there are legends and semi-historical accounts telling of the connection of Nepal with the India of a Mahabharata times too. Notwithstanding some local differences, therefore, the culture of Nepal is not very significantly distinguishable from that of northern parts of India, which shouldn't be a surprise because the big majority of population there has a history of migration from these parts of India. No description of Nepal would be complete unless one mentions that the birthplace of Prince Siddhartha, who later became the Buddha, is there in Nepal according to the Buddhist tradition. Though there is no substantial historical evidence to prove it, an 18th century chronicle of Buddhist persuasion says that Ashoka had made a visit to Kathmandu valley and that his daughter Charumati had married a valley prince and had established a Buddhist monastery there, to which she subsequently retired. There are reasons why we have included a modern Nepali text in English in spite of the fact that Nepal has never been a part of the British Commonwealth and has never been a British colony the way the other countries from where we have taken our texts in the course have been. A significant reason easily inferred from the title of our course is that we would like to depoliticize this field of study and open it up to include those countries and territories of the world where writing in English has happened and has been happening, though the territories haven't ever been parts of the erstwhile British Empire. The English text that we have picked up from Nepal is a novel by Manjushri Thapa titled The Tutor of History. First published in 2001, the novel brings in some interesting glimpses of the electioneering in Nepal while the country was still a constitutional monarchy. There are some purposeful pictures of the Maoist insurgency too in the novel. In these two parts of a talk, we have made a brief geographical, historical, cultural survey of South Africa and Nepal, two of our destinations in this course on New Literatures in English. as we continue on our journey around the world. In the next and the last two-part talk, we will take a close but brief look at the histories and geographies and cultures of the Oceania nations of Australia and New Zealand. Till then, this is your course coordinator Prakash Joshi saying goodbye to you.